is going on, everybody? Welcome back to the Project Manga Podcast, where we cover One Piece, My Hero, Black Clover, Mashle, Dr. Stone, and Jujutsu Kaisen week to week. Back this week covering Weekly Shonen Jump issue number 31. I'm your host, Eagle.
I'm Knox.
And I'm Nickums.
And as always, before we get started tonight, we would just like to ask that you take a look in the description box down below where you can find links to any and all of our individual social media accounts, such as Twitter, online communities such as Discord, places to listen to the podcast wherever you would like to listen to the podcast to, as well as ways to support the show, such as looking at our online shop or our Patreon. And timestamps to navigate through the video and avoid spoilers if you need to. Also, like the damn video, subscribe to the channel for fire content week to week.
Yes.
And with all those words said, what a fire weekend jump. Short weekend jump.
Short week.
With, Jujutsu Kaisen still on break, and obviously Hero not present this week either, but
yes,
yeah, too bad.
Still quite a good week in jump here.
Absolutely.
definitely.
So I think with that said, we can just jump right into chapter 203 of Dr. Stone, Missile Heart.
Fire.
And popularity poll results here on this fire-ass color page. Surprising to me that Gen took first.
Yeah.
I can't believe it.
I love this. These are my top 3 characters in the whole series.
But not in this order.
Oh, not in this order. No. But I
Right.
love seeing Gen, Senku, and Ryu sweet. Like, obviously there's Chrome. Chrome would be fourth in here somewhere, but like just seeing these 3 here, it's like, but Gen first place is wild. I wonder why.
That's wild, yeah.
I wonder why they like Gen so much more than
I don't know, because he's a silver-tongued fuck, I guess. Who knows? He's sneaky.
Yeah, very interesting.
These are my goats, man.
But yeah, we get fluoride acquired here. We get right to the punch at the beginning of the chapter, and something that was kind of off-putting to me, like being that Suika is kind of an established scientist now, is that like at the beginning of the chapter here, when Senku's explaining this glass to her, this fluoride glass, he like doesn't go into the full explanation. He's just like, oh, long story short, it's better. You know?
Oh, sure.
When I'd like to see him explain that kind of stuff to her, at least, you know, her and Chrome. They'd like to know that kind of information. They're people that want to learn these things. So I don't know. I think to me, it was kind of like, it's for our sake, right? But like at the same time, for her sake, I wish that he kind of would have went into it more.
I think I agree. Yeah, I think I agree there. I think we'll see, but because there are times where like Senku is like shortening things up, you know, for Chrome too. You know what I mean? Like there's definitely, I want to say that there are times where it just makes sense to explain everything in depth for every scientist around at the moment. And there's just other times, obviously, like now where they're just like, all right, we're going to skip ahead for a little bit. But I think moving forward, I think Suika will start getting involved in more of these talks, hopefully. This is something that I hadn't even thought about until right now. So it's good to point out, but I'm confident that Riichiro will give her that kind of spotlight. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
But yeah, use the fluorite for a lens of a telescope or whatever. That's pretty cool.
Yeah.
Have you all ever like looked at a like really powerful telescope before and like at the moon in this way? Like it's wild.
It's so
like
crazy.
A real high power telescope. It'll like, blow your mind.
Seeing the moon in 4K that close HD is different. It's a different experience.
Definitely. We get just that, people looking at the moon through the telescope like, oh shit, oh wow, what the fuck?
It's probably even more drastic for them because I mean obviously they're stone people, you know what I mean? So it's like that's gotta be wild. So we're going to India.
Going to India, yes. Very interesting.
And they got a gas dilemma here. They're worried about, you know, running out of gas, having to travel all the way around the Horn of Africa. And
let's talk more about like India as Math City, because it's interesting to think about why. And I have like 2 ideas of why. First idea, if you look at the picture of this Math City, like this, you know, example or this, you know, idealized, you know, obviously fake looking Math City or whatever.
Yeah.
Is it meant to imply like they're going to need to do like really intense computations? So they're going to need computers? Is this meant like we're going to build computers? And in India, computer programmers are a very common profession. You know what I mean? Like there's a lot of Indian computer programmers in the world. Is that what they're trying to say here? Or is it more trying to say that like India is like one of the birthplaces of mathematics, like the number system we use, like 0, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9.
Yeah.
Like those numbers are from India way back in the day. You know what I mean? Like thousands of years ago, kind of thing. Like, so I'm not really sure what they like. Why India for Math City? You know what I mean?
Right. Yeah. No, that's a really good question. And just having the conversation now, it makes me think like, okay, even though 3,700 and even more time has even passed since then, but basically 3,700 years have gone by, and all of the metal based like buildings have like rusted away and like they've crumbled to dust or whatever, and that's what they said like super early on. But like stone structures, I want to say, still are up, you know what I mean? So right, so like libraries and like things where like important books with equations and other kinds of information, India has a lot more stone architecture, you know what I mean? So they could be going there because there's like an amazing library or something there that
a stone library,
a stone library that might not have been you know, destroyed or crumbled away, you know, in the time, you know, that's passed or whatever. And they might be going there because I that's actually like weird to think about though, because I feel like any information that you would need from a book Senku has in his mind, you know what I mean? Yeah. But I'm just trying to make it make sense. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
I'd like to read a brief excerpt from basically just the first paragraph of the wiki for Indian mathematics.
Okay.
Indian mathematics emerged in the Indian subcontinent from 1200 BC until the end of the 18th century. In the classical period of Indian mathematics, 400 AD to 1200 AD, important contributions were made by scholars like names I can't really pronounce and don't want to try to.
Sure.
Like 4 or 5 scholars that are really important. The decimal number system that in use today was first recorded in Indian mathematics.
Nice.
Indian mathematicians made early contributions to the study of the concept of zero as a number, negative numbers, arithmetic, and algebra. And in addition, trigonometry was further advanced in India, and in particular, the modern definitions of sine and cosine were developed there.
Oh, shit.
These mathematical concepts were transmitted to the Middle East, China, and Europe, and led to further developments that now form the foundations of many areas of mathematics.
So you were like totally right, Nick. I feel like you were right on the nose with like this is the birthplace of like our understanding of like math, calculus, trigonometry, and like things like that. This is where all the foundational stuff kind of is and is known about to be. So I feel like that makes all the sense on why it's Math City. But why would they? Did they say exactly why they need to go there? Or did they just say this is the next location?
Dope-ass mathematicians here.
Yeah,
they said on page 5, a proper moon mission means making deadly accurate trajectory calculations.
Oh yeah, there we go. Yeah.
And I think that's that like some of that sine and cosine stuff you're talking about. Like that sounds like something you'd use to like track like angles and rotation and that kind of stuff, you know what I mean? For a spaceship going to the moon or whatever. So yeah, that's interesting. Yeah,
it could be both of what me and Nick said. It could be they want to go there and it's called Math City for those reasons, but then they're also going there because the information that they need is in, you know, buildings and structures that haven't crumbled away after so much time.
Right.
Well, there's most likely some physical resources that they need as well. Obviously, anywhere they go, they're probably going to be mining and taking resources from around the area and shit.
Yeah. And if any of these stone structures have, you know, any kind of important technology in them, I mean, like water might not have reached it and rusted away, like the technology. I don't know how they would use it. But like, I don't know. Could be something like that.
That's a really interesting idea. Yeah, like a vault or something that they knew was in India that has something that might be intact. Like that could be, I don't know. Yeah.
There's probably a bunch of like locations around the planet that Senku just has like memory of. Like, okay, this area, you know, didn't have the same kind of structures as this other area. So like we can go to India, Greece, Rome, or wherever. And there's probably, you know, still standing, you know, structures that carry some kind of important information. And Senku's probably thinking about those places and trying to go there potentially, but could be something like that. But yeah, man, interesting as hell.
Most definitely. But yeah,
super interesting talk about the Suez Canal or whatever.
Yep. Definitely. And Ryusui on a real serious vibe about it too. Like, yo, we ain't gonna make this. We gotta chill for a bit.
Yeah.
And even when they come up with kind of a way to circumvent that obstacle, kind of, he still steps in the way and says like, yo, as captain, I'm gonna have to put my foot down here. we're not fucking doing this because there's too high a chance that we're gonna get there. It's gonna be fucked. We're gonna be fucked because we won't be able to turn around. Now we wasted all that shit for no reason. We got to sit longer.
Right.
Yeah.
You know.
And I love this teamwork on page 9, right? Like going from Chelsea being like, damn, if only we could scout this, and then like, okay, well, let's go to Chrome. Like, okay, well, if Chelsea could see it from a distance, like maybe with a telescope, like, and everyone's like, okay, like, and then here's Kaseki, like, yep, I built your telescope, here it is.
Yeah,
and then the balloon, hot air balloon.
And the hot air balloon.
Oh man.
This is one of the things I appreciate the most about Dr. Stone is that like it does such a good job of, obviously this is a very team-based story and everyone has their specialties and they're really good in areas where they're in their element, but then when they're not in their element, you need another team member to come in and supplement that lack, of capability with their own specialty. You know what I mean? Like we see that a lot inside of Dr. Stone, but at this point in the story, it'd be very easy, for everyone to just be so good at what they do that they just always have the right answer right away. But there's still so much trial and error, it not just inside of the scientific method application, but also inside of like deliberations inside of the team. Like you have Ryusui that's like, yo, normally I'm the guy that has all the answers as the captain, but I've hit a wall here and I'm making a logical decision based on the fact that I've hit that wall. So what can everyone else do to kind of bring us back to a confident level to where we can continue this journey? And it's just like these interactions are just like Dr. Stone as fuck to me. You know what I mean? These are like some of the things that I appreciate the most about it,
Yeah. And something in the art here in the chapter as well. Like obviously Boichi has a certain style in the character art that is like very, very Boichi. You can tell it's like the aesthetic of it is cool, but also something I think is a specialty of theirs is just these like really, really grandiose, panoramic, almost like large landscape shots where we see this river in the hot air balloon panel. And it's just like so beautiful. Like I feel like that's a big specialty and strength of Boichi as an artist is drawing these big landscape shots.
Yeah, because it really drives the point home that like nature, you know what I mean, is like one of the biggest things, just like geography and the world. Yeah, absolutely. And it's like when they can show you just how real the nature is and how big the world feels sometimes, it really because everything seems so zoomed in all the time inside of Dr. Stone. You know what I mean? Especially inside of the character interactions, because what else can you really show? You're trying to fit so many people talking and so many people interacting on 1 or 2 pages. You kind of gotta zoom in a lot on them when it's very character driven, but then you get these huge zoom out panoramics that you're talking about, and it really reminds you exactly like what they're up against almost. You know what I mean? Like the elements and shit. You know what I mean?
Definitely.
Love that.
Yeah.
And we got a dam.
Yes.
So the first thing I thought when on this page, 12, right, where it's like, oh, there's actually like a dam.
People.
And they immediately go into, oh, okay, some trees must have grown. Climate changes over time, hotter, colder, good for trees, bad for trees. A bunch of trees grew. Then it was bad for trees. A bunch of trees died. They all went downstream, made a dam. And then they proceeded to blow it up, obviously, and we'll talk about that. But the first thing I thought of was like, what if there's more people? What if they made a dam? What if we just literally blew up some village's dam? You know what I mean? Like, I don't know. Like, they didn't scout that much, you know?
Yeah. No, that's a really good point. I didn't think about that at all. The only thing that I really thought about with this scene was how similar it was to the Banana or Panama Canal situation that they had. But they just kind of like dodged that, right? They kind of like went around last time, whereas this time they had the technology to actually get through it. So I think it's cool that it shows the overcoming of a hurdle like that in a recreated situation of a previous issue that they had to literally just like drive around, you know what I mean? So I thought it was cool to show the growth there inside of their technological advancement. I did not think at all that they could be fucking up somebody's like situation, somebody's living situation. That's pretty crazy to think about.
That did kind of pop up as a possibility in my mind as well when I was reading it. I was like, did some people build this? And then something that was off-putting to me as well, like during the explanation of the climate change thing you're talking about, we get this panel in the middle of page 12, the bottom middle panel, where I don't know if it's just like something that is there as a pun or a joke kind of, but like from next to or inside the dam almost, we get a panel of speech that says, damn it. They're talking about blowing it up and shit.
Yeah, I saw that too. I think it's supposed to be a joke, right?
Yeah.
Like
I think
the
it's supposed to be a
characters.
joke as well.
Yeah,
There's a
the
little
characters are
fish
talking
there or
about blowing it
something.
up, and then the dam's like,
Damn
shoot,
it.
man, like I'm just trying to chill here. I'm a dam, you know, like, and then a pun, you know, damn it or whatever, like, damn it, they're gonna blow me up, you know, but like, yeah, that could be interesting. What if that was like a human talking and they just killed
inside the dam and they just blew some fucking? It's like a tunnel through the river or something. I don't know.
Sure.
Yeah.
I mean, yeah, dams have uses. There's a reason people build them. You know what I mean? Like, could be for fishing, could be for energy, could be just to have a big pool of water for irrigation in the surrounding, you know, fields on the left and right of the river or whatever. It could also just be the trees or whatever, you know. Like, so yeah. And what about this page turn into this missile?
I didn't know what I was looking at first.
One, it's cool that we get to skip some of the stuff like the building of this whole rig or whatever the fuck. Like this probably took a good, you know, I don't know. Did they already have this? Maybe they did on the ship. They already had this set up, but
maybe
they were already building it.
Yeah.
Because they already knew they were going to do a test run of the rocket.
That's what
they might have done a quick. Okay, let's put in some dynamite. Like if you notice, going back to page. What was the first page we saw the rocket? Page 5, right? There is a little door. Like this is a scale model of the rocket, right? Exactly as you would build it, just smaller. There's literally space inside for people to be in, right? You can see on page 5 there's a door at the top. So it could be that they already had the platform built so they could test the rocket. But they just were like, okay, well, let's throw some explosives in there. You know what I mean?
For sure.
Since we're already going to shoot it anyway.
Yeah. Yeah, that makes sense. Another thing that I kind of appreciate about like later Dr. Stone storytelling is that they've kind of slowed down on like big exposition dumps and like montages of them building everything, right? Because it's like the beginning of the story took a lot of time to do that. You know what I mean? You saw the very meticulous, you know what I mean, mundane gathering of items and, you know, all the alchemy and all the extra shit that they were doing or whatever. We saw that like step by step for like the first 3-4 arcs, you know what I mean? So now we're at a point where we're reusing a lot of the same processes to we don't need a drastic montage every time they build something, because a lot of it is going to be redundant, you know what I mean?
Right. We've already built up the trust in the characters that they probably could do this, right? Like we don't need to see them do it. We know they can do it. Right. It's just now it's cool to see, like, as you're saying, Eagle, like the fruit of the labor, right? Yes. Boom, here's this impressive thing we built. We don't need a whole 3 chapters to build it, you know what I mean? You know we can do it already, so yeah.
We can literally just devote it to like a couple page turns. Boom, boom, now we're here. Yeah. You know what I mean? That's tight. Yep. Yeah.
I love on page 15, this like division in the group where like Gen immediately sees this and goes like, oh shit, we're literally building a missile right now. And everyone's like, I don't get it. Like there's a rocket. Yeah, I understand what the rocket does. It flies or whatever, but like what do you, I don't get it, you know?
Right. And it's split between modern people and Stone World people, you know what I mean? That's so good. That's so good.
Or then the rocket's name here too is Dr. One.
Yeah.
Oh, where do you see that?
It's on 17.
On the double spread on page 14 and 15.
Oh. Yeah.
Did it say that there too?
It's up near the nose of the rocket.
Yep, I see it. Nice.
Oh yeah, there you go. Yeah, I was thinking about 16, 17. You can see how like clear as day on 17.
That's a lot clearer.
It's almost the focal point. Yeah.
Yeah.
I love that. That's awesome.
Yeah.
Definitely. Hell yeah. And the flashback to the science is power dialogue that we got from Zeno was powerful as well, you know.
Yes.
And Senku's like, you know, with Zeno's help, I finally made it happen. The first rocket.
Yes.
In the stone world.
Yes. And I love the double spread on 18 and 19 because like the perspectives that we get of the missile like firing is very I feel like just anyone inside of this echelon of illustrator could easily but it reminded me of like Yusuke Murata, One Punch Man.
One Punch Man.
You know what I mean? Like just like the perspectives used and like the detail obviously and just like everything just felt so high detail and so dynamic that I thought I was reading, you know, Metal Knight like flying to go stop the fucking, you know, asteroid or whatever. So like that was cool.
100%.
Plus you have, you know, Chelsea with her finger pointing, you know, like the way or whatever, like in separating it, and then the missile also like just following the
past the air balloon.
So yeah, right,
bro.
Whoa!
Well, okay, now like, about that very interesting thing. If you notice, right, go to 17. Senku is controlling it on 17.
Yep.
Ryusui is controlling it on 19 because If you go
proximity.
Yeah, exactly. 15, there is a wireless controller, but because you don't have satellites, it is a short-range wireless tech.
Oh,
so Senku
fuck.
is controlling it from the boat, and he's flying it over to the balloon towards the Suez Canal, blockage, and then Ryusui, his controller comes in range. Now he's controlling it, right? So like, since they're actually controlling it, probably not as dangerous as it looks. You know what I mean? Like it is going right by them, but he's controlling it. Ryusui.
Yeah, for sure. Yeah, no, for sure though, Eagle. That was super sus at first. Like when I got to the page, I was like, oh my god, that's so close. I would be fucking
shitting
myself
if I was in that balloon.
Yeah. But at the end of the day, your best friends are controlling it, and you can trust them. So
right.
Yeah, and then we get the blowing up of the dam, and this was hype and all, but like, this is a cool tool to show like the power of the future and the power of future technology to the crew as is kind of par for the course. But when we first got the smaller version of the rocket at the beginning of the chapter, when I was first initially reading it, I kind of got excited because I thought they were going to use it in a different type of way where I thought they were going to literally do it as a test run for launch, see if we can get this thing like
out of the atmosphere,
orbital, basically out of the atmosphere, and see, and I thought maybe it was going to be kind of a tool for establishment of stakes in that way, because things are always kind of happy-go-lucky, with science always works. Chelsea kind of said it in this chapter too, like, oh, it'd be weird if science always worked out 100% of the time, right?
Right.
So I thought maybe they were going to be like, all right, we're running a test launch, and everybody's like, oh shit, let's go. It's going to go right to the moon, and we're going to fucking, it's going to land right next to Y-Man, and he's going to know we're coming type shit.
Right.
I thought maybe it would just blow up, either on the launch pad or like accidentally. Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
Either on the launch pad or like before it got orbital, and like really establish some stakes in that way.
Yeah.
Bring us back to that, like, yo, what we're doing here is seriously a fucking dangerous thing. Requires a lot of like top tier fucking equipment and like a lot of fucking luck.
Yes.
And
I totally agree.
Literally everybody on the fucking rocket could die.
Yeah.
So
right.
Like I think we'll still get that scene
at some point. Yes.
I think you need
it.
Yeah, because like we've already shown.
Can't like.
Yeah.
Oh, go for it.
I was just gonna say they've already shown Senku trying to do that and failing, like in the beginning of the series, like when we got his flashback with like him and Taiju. Obviously, he's a lot better, of a scientist since then. But like we've definitely already seen him trying to shoot a rocket into space. You know what I mean?
Right.
So I think that we still will get that because it's going to tie back to his like backstory in that way, and we never saw in that backstory, obviously, him success. Well, maybe we did success. Actually, we did. They eventually did shoot a rocket up and it blew up, but the dolls that Yuzuriha made still made it into orbit.
Yep.
Right. So we saw that. But I do agree with Nick. I think we still will see, like, once they finally say, okay, this is the test launch for the actual, rocket we're going to take into space. I think it will blow up a couple times, maybe. You know what I mean? And I think
you need it. It's complicated.
Yeah, and I think
because
it will be
everybody in the crew, they're like, oh yeah, we're doing this. This is such a, we're going to go to the moon type shit. Yeah. And there's not really a serious vibe about it, like as serious as it is. Yeah,
I think we're going to get like super crazy Senku character writing once the ship is like actually like ready to be tested and like launched into orbit, because that's like his whole, before the Stone World, that was his like biggest motivation, was getting into space, going to the moon, being an astronaut. So if we see a lot of trial and error inside of like the Stone World team trying to get into space with this new rocket, and Senku still can't figure it out, that could be like the first time we really see him not confident in a situation, like actual anxiety, because he's always like, even when Senku's in like a dire situation, he's always got like a half smirk going on. You know what I mean? Like you always know that like he has the idea that matters. You know what I mean? Like, but if we ever get a scene where he's like, I legitimately don't know what to do, I can't do this. You know what I mean? Like this was like my life's work before the Stone World. Like if we get like crazy character writing like that for Senku, I think that would slap so hard.
Yes.
You know what I mean?
Yeah. And there's no way. Go ahead, Nick.
I'll say, even in terms of how complicated it is to build a rocket, right? I think it's almost ridiculous that they actually built a rocket for the first time.
Yeah.
And actually it worked. You know what I mean? It actually flew. They were actually able to control it. It actually hit the target. You know what I mean?
Right.
That's very, very impressive. You know what I mean? And lucky, right? But it is so complicated that I think just to, reset the stakes, like you're saying, Eagle, and reestablish that this is not some trivial thing that like 20 people should be able to do normally.
Right.
I think you need to show some rockets blowing up accidentally.
For sure.
Yeah. And there's no way Senku is letting Chrome on the mission there's no way he's letting him on the rocket for launch. Just on he's done it before in the past. We've seen in a couple different arcs where he'll try and keep Chrome out of harm's way when he knows things are getting really hairy.
Yeah.
I think he'll definitely be like, look, there's a chance that if this goes south, me and everybody else on the fucking rocket could die.
Right.
Yeah.
So Chrome for the
you
future
got to stay back for the future of science.
Back.
But we already did this, right? So like when they were collecting the chloric acid or the sulfuric acid.
Sulfuric acid.
Yeah. When they were making the drugs for Rurine, they or for Ruri rather, they had to go to get the sulfuric acid, and there was that like crazy like JoJo stand that like came out of the water and like freaked everybody out. That whole arc, Chrome already said, or like Senku was like, "Hey, check it out, bro. I'm about to tell you everything I know right now before I go get this acid in case I die, and then you could be the future of science." And Chrome was like, "Nah, bro. If you get fucked up in there, you'll have me to back you up. Like we do this shit together, or we don't do it at all." You know what I mean? Like they already went over that in like a specific moment for their character arc. So I doubt, and even if Senku does like try to bring that back and be like, "Yo, Chrome is too dangerous. The future needs you," they'll probably just rehash like, "You remember the sulfuric acid, my guy? Nah, we going together." You know what I mean? Like I feel like it would be something like that.
You think Chrome's going on the rocket?
I think Chrome's on the rocket, bro.
Now that you say that, and I'm thinking more about it, I agreed that Chrome will be on the rocket because now they kind of know how to make the revival fluid, and Xeno exists too. Like it's less likely that science will die forever. They can always revive more people, more scientists, more modern day people that have a better understanding of science, especially if they're going to Math City. You know what I mean? Like Math City, science, like there's gonna be a lot of smart people there.
And you still got Xeno. You know what I mean?
Exactly,
like at the end of the day, even though Xeno can't be entirely trusted the way Senku can, at least civilization comes back to some degree if Senku and Chrome like both die. You know what I mean? So like it might be, really similar to the world that we kind of have now if Xeno really takes the reins and brings everything back in the way that he would vision it. But science is definitely not gone with Chrome and Senku dead. So like I doubt he would make him stay back for that, to be honest with you. But that is a cool thought, though. I did think about that.
Early in the manga, I would have agreed more. But now that we've gotten more people, I think it's safer now.
All right,
good stuff.
Oh yeah.
I think that's about it for Dr. Stone. Do you guys have anything else?
Oh no, I'm good.
No, that's all I had.
Well, with that, I think we can go ahead and move right into chapter 69 of Mashle. Wahlberg, Bygone, and the Magic of Time.
Yes.
Ooh.
This one was wild, bro.
Yes.
This huge white beard energy for me here.
Huge white beard energy. Yes, I'm glad you said that because like this chapter, like especially I'm just gonna fast forward to page 7, right?
Yeah.
Because when he's like, all right, I got to cut this whole space, bet, and then like gave like this super crazy panel of all the whooshing and washing, and then underneath that you just have the smirk, and like this is what I was waiting for, because whenever you have the old characters and stories that are always like kind of have the same emotion the whole time because they're just old and wise all the time, you know what I mean? Then when they finally turn up, you get the bloodlusted malice panel, and it like is so devastating like every time. Like I was like, oh my god, I was waiting for this. He looks so fucking crazy right here.
Looks so dope.
Oh,
so because cool. All these old heads in these manga, just they love at the end of the day, whether no matter what their character is, whether they like helping people or hurting people or whatever, they all love these push to their limit, high limit breaking fights where they get to go all out. Like
that's an incredible point, because it's like, how long has it been?
Love these battles like this, how long has it been since I really got to go all out like this. You know what I'm saying?
Right.
Wahlberg's like,
and it's that coupled with the confidence in their abilities over time, right? So you have like them wanting to fight at full strength. You have them wanting to have an opponent worthy of bringing that potential out of them for the first time and whoever knows how long. But then you also have them like, oh yeah, I'm that guy. So I know I'm Wahlberg. You know what I mean? I've been out here for 60, 70, 80 years doing this shit. You know what I mean? He looks so like ready to just go crazy. You know what I mean? And I just love that vibe that any old character that's been built up enough in the background of a series can give you. And they always usually deliver on that in like everything. You know what I mean? Like name a time where an old ass character finally turned up in a manga and it like was underwhelming. You know what I mean? Like I can't even think. Like I could probably like think for an hour or two and probably not find one. You know what I mean? Like,
they usually devote a lot to that moment to make sure that it's like on some
that's like why the old man trope in manga is like so drastic, because it's like they have the formula. You know what I mean? You tell the story and you base it around a literal power system where everyone is trying, or a lot of people are trying to be the best. And then you have the guy that you know is the best just there in the background the whole time, not doing shit. You know what I mean? While everyone is making these huge gains and new power levels, new abilities, and the whole time you're just like, yeah, but like Netero though, when are we finally going to see what he can do? And the more time you spend on other characters, the more value you're giving that old man before he finally turns up. You know what I mean? So it's like, it's the perfect trope in my opinion.
Yes.
Yeah.
One of the greats.
Yeah.
Time magic, obviously, super OP, you know?
Yeah.
Like, the fact that he can not only age Wahlberg, but he can do some sort of like time skip, time rewind, where he can like just go behind you, you know, where he's like on page 3. Like, when did he get there? Did he manipulate time or whatever? Time magic's always the most drastic.
Yeah, it is always, you know, and you have space magic. We were talking about it last week about how like space is like the perfect kind of ability. Or not perfect ability, but like just a really cool ability for Wahlberg to have as the Wizard King of this story. It juxtaposed to Julius.
Right.
But like space, even though like, okay, this is why it's crazy, because Wahlberg definitely has the capability to just erase this entire area, including Innocent Zero. But he's got people, you know what I mean, that he doesn't want to hurt. He can't go all out. Like, but if he did, it would probably be comparable, if not, it would probably be on the same level of brokenness, or if not more broken than the time manipulation, because you're still manipulating time in all of these ways. I mean, if it really came down to it, the biggest abilities they have against each other is the fact that Wahlberg could just delete all of the space, and Innocent Zero can always just rewind time at the last second.
Right.
You know what I mean? So it's almost like a unstoppable force meets immovable object kind of situation. Which is crazy, because like I didn't want to think that Innocent Zero was like actually stronger than Wahlberg. You know what I mean? But I feel like he only is effective right now because Wahlberg has people to think about. You know what I mean? So like even though even though he's very obviously going to lose here, it's like still cool to think in the back of my head, but like he didn't have to. You know what I mean? So like, I don't know. I just think that this matchup is just so cool because there's always something that kind of has to get in the way of the one you know would wash this situation. Like Julius versus Lit. You know what I mean? Right. He was handling that man. And then, oh, well, huge AoE on top of the whole city. So like now you have to like worry about that and I can kill you now. You know what I mean? It's like, it's always like that. It's like, because I don't want it to be an actual situation where Wahlberg is weaker than this dude. I want to know that he only won on some sneaky shit, and my man's, you know, was still, you know, was still that guy. You know what I mean? Because now, even if Wahlberg dies, I'll always think in the back of my head, no matter what Innocent Zero does, like Wahlberg could have dusted your ass, bro. You know what I mean? And like I'll always think about that. You know?
Yeah, we'll see if that's the case, right? Because it could be that Innocent Zero is stronger, and I think the fact I do definitely agree that, especially this conversation 10 and 11, right?
Yeah.
Saying like, you know, I prioritize myself, you don't prioritize yourself, you prioritize those around you. I think that is implying what you're getting at, that it is Wahlberg needing to protect people, weakening him, that will let Innocent Zero win. But I don't know, like he's doing all these drastic you know, attacks, and Innocent Zero is just like, need to do better than that, buddy. You know?
Yeah.
Where's this line on
It'll take more than that to defeat me on page 8.
Well, I was thinking about page 5 when Wahlberg is saying, "How powerful have you grown, you monster?"
Sure. Yeah.
To Innocent Zero, you know?
Mm-hmm.
Pretty tight.
But then he also says right after that, it seems I must use my magic to cut this whole space. So he gave him a compliment, but then said, I'm going to have to do a little bit better if I want to deal with this. You know what I mean? So yeah.
Very cool use of the space ability.
Absolutely.
Like on page 2, like removing the space you are yourself in. It's like, what does that even mean? You know what I mean? Like, where did you go?
I think it's
behind him.
Yeah, it looks like it was just like an after image, like Soru shave, like type of like movement ability, but like just instantaneous because the space was deleted. I don't know.
But as he was saying, now that I'm thinking about it, like last chapter or 2 chapters ago against Necros Mange or whatever that guy's name was, the dude who revived Adam Jobs.
Yeah.
He, got his arms and legs or whatever teleported away.
Right.
And Wahlberg was like, "Oh, don't worry, like they're just somewhere else."
Yeah,
you know what I mean?
Yep.
So he's not deleting the space.
Yeah.
He's like moving it elsewhere, or maybe he can choose sometimes to move it or delete it or whatever.
Yeah.
So he can just move himself.
I think he definitely did exactly that. Like whatever he did to like take the arms and legs off of that dude, he did that for himself, but just his whole body was included.
Yeah. Or the fact that like he is actually counteracting time magic with space deletion. Because if you think about time, right? Time is related to space.
Right.
If you're just moving in space, you know what I mean? And there's nothing around you to reference, are you even moving? Is time even passing? You know what I mean?
Right.
But if you have like 2 planets and you're going from point A to point B, you can tell that time is moving by relative distance to other things, space. You know what I mean? And so if he removes enough space, his time can only go so far back. You know what I mean?
Right.
So that potentially the time he went back to, the space is still within the range that he's removing. Maybe, you know what I mean? Like it's just cool that he's even able to fight Innocent Zero.
Yeah, and I'm pretty sure time needs space in order to even like be a thing, right?
Yeah.
So like if there's no space there, the time magic's gonna run into it and then not have like a medium or whatever to travel through or exist in. Right?
Sure.
So like if there's no area for the time to exist in, then it would probably just nullify that spell in that area. Yeah.
So interesting.
Entirely. You know what I mean? Like that's pretty crazy to think about too.
Right. Just such a tight fight.
Yeah, like this is like and I feel like we've seen time versus space before, like in fiction, like a bunch of times. You know what I mean? I can't remember the last time, like in manga that I saw it. You know what I mean? But like you see it in the West pretty often because everything is like really high concept at this point in the West. But like in manga, like this is really cool to see how Japanese writers do it. You know what I mean? And it's like it feels so right. You know what I mean? Like in the West, you have like these really high concept like conflicts. You know what I mean? And like it's cool to think about, but like a lot of it, they just like kind of like where they could explain things more and put a little bit more effort into making sure it's understood what's happening. They kind of just chalk it up to like, well, this is like really high concept shit. Like this phenomena isn't like something that humans could understand anyway. So like, we'll just suspend your disbelief a little bit more and like let's get us through this comic. You know what I mean? But like in manga, they really try to like make you get it. You know what I mean? Like, and it's really cool to see this clash in manga form because I legitimately cannot remember the last time time and space fought like this. You know what I mean? So I appreciate MASH for what it's doing right now and how effective they are with what they're attempting.
Definitely.
Yeah, he hits him with the second times rewound, takes his arm, man. It's tough.
Super tough. And he just like looks down like, like this is on page, wait, what page is this on? Second time rewind.
9.
Yeah,
page 8 and 9.
Yeah, and he just kind of looks down like, all right, well, and that's another thing inside of like older characters is that like, I mean, you get a little bit more reaction, like wide-eyed surprise reactions from Wahlberg than I feel like you do in most old guy fights. But for the most part, in old guy fights especially, you get they're so wise and they're so understanding of how fights go and how power is
Mhm.
used, that they take these really high trauma attacks and kind of just like not really shrug them off, but like don't really react to them, because you're just like, okay, I knew that was coming, I knew it was going to affect me in this way, you know, like I've been doing this for decades, you know what I mean? Like they don't need to devote so much time to like, oh no, my arm is gone, like oh shit, my leg is gone, like what the, like they're just like, all right, back to work type shit, like lost the arm, that sucks. You get the one panel of like the huffing, and then like he's ready to fight again, like on the next panel, and then obviously takes damage like right away. But still, it's just cool.
Yeah, and I feel like part of it also is like with the old man trope, you have the ability to be like, I've done my time, I've lived my life. You know what I mean? Like now I can sacrifice myself. I can take these hits. I can take this damage to protect my friends and family. You know what I mean?
As long as it means I get this dude out of here at the end, because if this dude is doing me like this, if I can delete him, then like all the people I'm sacrificing myself for are probably going to have a pretty easy time after this. You know what I mean? So that's like just like that old man wisdom. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
I love the 10-11, like this monologue of Innocent Zero. I'm really liking the direction of Innocent Zero's character. I think he's pretty cool.
Yeah. I would agree.
And he looks beautiful. That panel on 11.
Yeah.
He looks awesome.
Yeah.
I love his design.
Yeah. I love the attractive villains.
Yes.
You know what I mean?
Yep. Griffith, you know. I'm sure there's a ton of them.
Sensui, Shinobu.
Sure.
From Yu Yu Hakusho. You know, like anyone that just like looks like you can't hate him. You know, like you obviously can, but they're trying to, you know what I mean, like give you a face that you like, you know what I mean? Because it's harder to, maybe by some degree, maybe not for everybody, but like just in general, it's like harder to kind of hate someone who looks so comely.
Yeah. Would you say Crollo?
Crollo, absolutely.
Sure.
Crollo's definitely one. You know, that dude's a mass murderer. You know
but he's
what I
also
mean?
like super pretty.
But he's also exactly. But he's also like super pretty. So it's like you want to like him, but then like I like that conflict, right? And see, that's why I like talk about like how character designs like influence, like the people's appreciation or care or want, for certain characters to stick around, because like, oh, I want something good to look at, you know what I mean, instead of like really hot female characters or really hot like guy characters, you know what I mean, like they might be a piece of shit, but it's like once they die, it's like they're gone from the comics. You're like, I want to look at that. What the fuck? I'm more upset now, you know what I mean? So
for sure.
Yeah.
And then we move into this flashback with Wahlberg and Adam Jobs.
Super young Wahlberg.
Wonderful flashback. I love this.
I love Adam and he's popping in with these random fucking animal facts. Did you know capybaras can run 50 kilometers per hour?
Come to school.
Come to school.
Hey,
did you know? Yeah. You know, dolphins drown if they sleep. Come to school. And just
and I was like, oh shit, I didn't know that. Should I go back to school?
Oh my god.
But nah, bro, I love this flashback, and like I just want to say this right now. It felt like one of the things that I love inside of Tabata's writings is his flashback, writing, you know what I mean, and his backstory writing. This and I understand that this is another magic story and things like that. But just like the sickly kid in the bed, you know what I mean? Like I feel like just gave me like Tabata, like Black Clover flashback quality vibes, you know what I mean? Like in this chapter. It like felt like a Black Clover flashback kind of, you know what I mean? And I just like really enjoyed this little spotlight on Jobs and Wahlberg.
How about his lines on 16? You can see him all crisp, you know what I mean? Like, and Adam Jobs, so I almost said Steve Jobs. Adam Jobs' lines look tight as hell.
They look
These are
so fucking cool.
Hell yeah.
Oh man.
Yeah.
And I'm thinking like when, cons fire up again, and once Mashle like gets an anime and people are going to start cosplaying Mashle, you know what I mean? It's going to be super easy to cosplay. Just throw on like a black Hogwarts robe and then put a line on your face. Like those are going to be really iconic cosplays, you know what I mean? Like easy to recognize, like a cool line design, maybe a wig. It's going to be really easy. It's going to be cool.
Yeah, we're going to see a lot of Mashle stuff in the coming cons, I promise you.
I might hit the Adam Jobs joint.
Hey, man.
Get it, son?
I know you got a lot of turtlenecks in your closet, so.
What are you talking about?
I just made that up.
Ain't nobody.
He looked like he do. He looked like he would, though, I want to say.
He ain't got no turtlenecks, man. He is rocking the turtleneck, though. Dude.
Hard as hell. I want to get one. Like he's bringing the turtlenecks back. I swear to God.
Yeah, I will say I do own a rabbit. And she's a sweet baby girl. And the fact on 17 is true. It's not an every morning kind of thing, but like rabbits do have like two kinds of poop, like one that they don't eat and one that's kind of like half digested food. It's really interesting. Like these kind of like
I
like
just learned that they eat their poop in the morning or whatever. Yeah, I
it's
just
not,
saw that.
Well, yeah, you just read the chapter today.
Oh, it's in this chapter. There we go.
Yeah,
there we go. Sorry. I kind of like, okay, keep going.
Anyway, it's like kind of a true thing. They're called psychotropes. It's kind of interesting. They kind of look like little blackberries or whatever. I don't know. Yeah. But it's true.
That's cool.
Yeah.
I was wondering, now that I remember, because I completely forgot that I read that in this chapter. But I remember when I read it originally, now I was like, why did they do that? And now you just kind of explained. It's half digested stuff. They're trying to get the rest of the nutrients.
They're just being more efficient with the nutrient consumption.
Yeah, absolutely. That's cool.
Yeah. I love this line from Wahlberg on the bottom of 17, like, live for yourself if that's what you truly desire, but I'm only alive due to the goodwill of others.
Fire.
Oh, man.
So I gotta fight for other people.
And that top panel 18?
Yeah.
Look at that top panel 18.
Hell yeah.
Phenomenal.
Which is why I can never ignore those weaker than myself.
The blood squirting out of his lines, the intense look, the old half, the younger but still old half or whatever. Like,
So wait, do we think that's blood?
Or whatever, magic energy or something.
No, that's a good question though, or that's got me thinking though, because it's like it is just a manga, you know what I mean? So we don't know what these and blood is usually just stark black, you know what I mean? So it's like it could just be like, what if it is like blood, and then like once the initial spurting of blood goes away, it's just like black lines. I think that would be sick. You know what I mean? Like break the skin apart, like bleed a little bit, and then show your whatever. I don't know. I think that'd be tight.
I do think it's meant to look painful.
Yeah, for sure.
Like it's ripping and it's like squirting stuff out. I don't think it's like fun, necessarily.
Yeah, that's a good point too. And it could definitely just be magic energy, but I never thought about like the possibility of it being blood. And it says rip. Yeah, you know what I mean? Like that's gotta hurt. And if
exactly.
it hurts, it could be blood. I mean, it doesn't have to be blood, but that's a cool thing to think about.
Yeah.
He's got a Gundam?
Yeah, we get the explanation from Innocent Zero here, so this is where he unleashes it. And when I heard that, I'm like,
yeah.
So when he said that, I was like, oh shit, he's already like seen the future and like knows how all of this is going and going to go.
No.
Yeah, I was like, is that what he's talking about right now? Did he always know this was going to go exactly like this and he's still gonna beat him like low diff because he's already seen the whole future?
Is that he knew Wahlberg would have this ability based on who he is and how powerful he is, and he was wondering like, when is he going to pull it out? He knew he still had not whipped out everything.
Right. Yeah, that's a good point.
This is where he puts it out.
Yeah,
that's where I took it too.
That's got to be what it is. But and it's also it's like space is thirds. It's like, okay, so we've had second spells for forever, but I think this is the first time we actually have something that says third, right? Third.
So it wasn't the first time Rain Ames went triple line. Wasn't that a thirds?
That was his Master Cane activation.
Oh, okay.
Into the Black Partisan. But like it didn't. There wasn't a third. And we've been saying like thirth or whatever. Like the whole time.
Right.
But like now it actually is just saying thirds. You know what I mean? So
which makes me, you might be right that this might be the first time. I can't fully remember, but you're probably right.
And it makes sense that the first time we see this level of spell is from Wahlberg in a fight like this too. You know what I mean? So I think this might be like confirmation of that third level.
Sure.
Like for real.
It's definitely a third level level spell. You know what I mean? Like definitely is.
Yeah.
Definitely.
Yeah.
Uranus inclination. Man,
come on, man. Wahlberg ain't playing out here. So wait. Oh no, we're about to get the Time Gundam. Like start a next chat. Or it's probably gonna switch perspectives, but like we might see like a very similar stand Gundam alt. Inside of Innocent Zero, which is like wild because like what if third spells, depending on what Innocent Zero's third spell looks like. If it's another like robotic like shit like this, or like just like humanoid or like just giant like being looking thing,
a summon or a
like
stand,
a summon or a stand or something like that, then like that's what all third spells are gonna look like probably to some degree. And it's like if we get 2 in a row, like that can't be a coincidence,
Right.
Like, so that's wild.
Mm.
And now I'm thinking of like Mash, like obviously he has no magic, but like what would his like third Gundam? He just like stomps on the ground and like perfectly raises a rock golem, and then just like steps or like moves in some way that like also moves the golem just from like shaking the ground or like moving like wind in like crazy ways. I don't know. I just like totally geeked out with like a headcanon thing for a second there, but this is so cool.
It's really cool. It's
the design on this and the artwork is so fucking phenomenal.
Yeah.
Wow.
It's really intricate. Like you can just like look at it, you know what I mean? Like there's so much going on. Like the fingers, like these like kind of like planes, like these squares or whatever in the background. These squares like stacked on like a deck of cards, but it's like probably like planes of space, you know what I mean? Like or maybe dimensions maybe. I don't know.
Could
like
be. The way that it shows the depth is wild to me because like there's so much Gundam in the front. So you want to say that there is like no depth, but then like the fact that you can see space in the stark blacks behind the panels just makes it look like it goes back so far. You know what I mean? And it's like even though like the 90% of the panel is dedicated to this relatively flat image, like there's so much depth there just because you can see stars and shit like in the background, at least for me, you know. So that shit's wild.
Amazing.
Oh hell yeah.
Yeah, dude. Can't wait for next week.
Damn. Yeah, it's gonna be lit next week.
I'm probably gonna read Mashle first chapter next week just because of this fucking cliffhanger. Is so wild.
Hell yeah. The epitome of magic.
Yeah.
The epitome.
Well,
the epitome.
I think that's Oh, really?
Yeah.
Epitome. I guess I've always thought
I always read it as that, like at first, but then like whenever I say it, I like know like epitome or whatever. But yeah, I definitely read it as epitome first, like pretty much every time. Yeah.
Yeah, I think that's about all I had for Mashle though. You guys?
Yeah, I'm good.
Yeah, definitely.
Well, with that, I think we can go ahead and move right into chapter 298 of Buddha Clover. What is it?
Transient life.
Yeah, it was kind of like it's in the middle
like
of it, blacked out. Yeah.
I love the title of this chapter. That's such a sick,
ominous.
Yeah, such a sick title for the chapter.
Yeah.
And I actually like this chapter overall. I really like the just the way we kind of go right into the explanation of the ritual and spell from Megikula. She's like, okay, I've completed step 1 with Aesir. You know, it allowed me to move into step 2 with Vanica. You know, and now that Vanika's about to go out, I'm moving into phase 3 with Lolo Pachika. And as soon as she's out, I'll be able to fully manifest myself. You know what I'm saying?
Yes.
I was actually going back to older chapters or whatever after reading this one, and yeah, like this, I think this chapter does do a very good job of tying together like almost everything I think we've been talking about the last couple chapters, and kind of, you know, we've been very critical of it, you know what I mean? And I think it did a very good job of tying it all together.
Yes, it all felt really good. I'm really happy about it. I love how it's like, you know, step-by-step processes, you know what I mean? Like whenever you're talking about anything related to the power or the magic or whatever you use in your series, if you give, you know, exposition in the form of I have to do this, then I have to do this, then I have to do this, it makes everything feel a lot better, you know, when you're thinking about why phenomena are happening the way that they are, you know what I mean? So whenever that kind of shit is apparent in Black Clover, I'm like, fuck yeah.
And like, it's super cool to me that Megikula has a motivation outside of this whole arc, right? Like the whole point of this, the triad, you know, and Morris and trying to open this portal or, you know, the gate to the underworld or whatever, right? Like her motivation is actually kind of separate from that. And she even says that like the what did she say in the beginning of this chapter? Like the gates are insurance for her.
Yeah, that's
right. And she even said last chapter, oh yeah, like Lucifero has not noticed us. She's doing this behind Lucifero's back. You know what I mean? And so like I said, I like went back to like older chapters, only last couple, right? For example, in 296, 2 chapters ago, in terms of like the first phase of this spell. First, for the record, I have a lot to say about this, like this spell or whatever, right? I think there's a lot to this or whatever.
Absolutely.
Going to 296, you remember the scene where Aesir is fighting Vanica, and she eventually does like stab her through the gut. You know what I mean? And Vanica's like, "Oh yeah, I took a fatal wound. Megikula told me to leave, and I did." On page 11 at the bottom or whatever, there's that scene when she gets stabbed, and this panel the one half the panel is Vanica going like, "Oh shit," and Megicula on the exact same like page, next panel, Megicula is ecstatic, super happy, right?
Yeah.
Because she got hit by Aesir and did curse wording magic against her to eventually curse her to death, right? So she's like, hell yeah, step 1 complete, right? Queuing that up, you know what I mean? Like at the time, it was like, okay, that's interesting. Like she just likes getting hit or whatever. Okay, that's interesting. But no, she's thrilled. Megicula is thrilled that she's queuing up part 1 of the spell. I thought that was tight.
Yes.
Let's see here. I have a bunch of notes or whatever. I think it's funny that it's called Malevolent Femcantation, like because it is about ladies, you know what I mean? Like feminine, female, you know, but instead of incantation, femcantation.
Oh yeah.
Let's see here. The whole second condition, where she says, what does she say? So in this chapter, Vanica, then there's Vanica, a gifted devil host who made a contract with me, okay? Because she's near death, I'm able to emerge like this.
Yes. Granted, it's still incomplete.
Right.
Oh, yeah.
Now, in terms of manifesting like this, right? Just because you have a devil contract doesn't mean a devil is actually manifested within you at all. Go to the first phase, right? On the top left, top right, sorry, on page 2. Cursing her to death, cursing Aesir to death, allowed me to partially manifest in Vanica's body. That's not a normal thing. Like, Lucifero isn't manifested in Dante.
That's right.
You know what I mean?
That's right.
He's just a 100% devil contract.
Who's there, yeah.
Right.
In his own domain, but still giving him energy. Right.
So then, like, this near-death thing, she's able to emerge, right? Very interesting, because, like, she is literally partially inside Vanica's body because of the first phase of the spell.
Yes.
Right?
Yes.
And so that's really cool.
Yes.
Just getting, like, more about devil stuff and devil magic or whatever. And then Lolopechka being the third step, right? So, like, the way I imagine this whole thing is, like, this kind of to maximize, like, the symbolism of this spell or whatever, right?
Right.
Like, the first phase allows Megicula, you could say, to touch the door, right? She sees the door there. She can touch the door, right? Phase 2, I can open the door.
A little bit. Right? I can stick a foot out.
I can put my foot through the door, you know what I mean? But I can't go all the way, right? When Lolopechka dies, she can now fully step through the door into our world, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
And but if, for example, they killed Vanica but saved Lolopechka, you know what I mean? The door would go away, you know what I mean? Like the door, Vanica is like related to the door in some way, right? So like you need all the pieces in place to let her come into this reality, you know what I mean?
Absolutely. It feels really good.
It feels really good. This three-phase thing, like it's all one piece, second piece, third piece. Like I don't know. I retract my criticism, you know, from last chapter. You know what I mean? Like I think this really wraps it up well for me.
Yeah, it wraps it up great. It connects all of those dots incredibly, and it's good to know that there are conditions and there are reasons why these things are happening the way that they are. I wish that there was another kind of line of line of dialogue that maybe says they have to die by someone other than me, like someone else has to like kill them or something, because otherwise I'm sitting here going like, why can't you just kill Lolopechka and Vanica
yourself
right now and just have your I wish that like the kind of caveat, you know, to the situation, or that like the saving grace is that Megicula like wants to play with these people. You know what I mean? I wish that there was like more of a concrete condition in place other than like, you know, I kind of just want to see how you guys do, because like at the end of the day, it's like we're so far in the story, and like if it's all going to come down to underestimation of your enemy, then like that falls a little bit short for me. You know what I mean?
For sure.
Because like this is doing is just leaving a window of underestimation open.
Yes.
And that's what they're going to exploit in order to keep this from fully happening for Megicula. You know what I mean? But if there was like something in place that said, I would just, you know, say fuck y'all and complete my goal right now, but there's another rule that says, you know, I can't be the one to complete the ritual or whatever. I can't be the one to kill these people. If there was something like that in there, then it would feel really perfect. But just the fact that that door is being left open for like, you know, for them to exploit that, just feels kind of like, But overall, dude, this is fucking gas, bro. Like this is this is the kind of shit that like I love to see in Black Clover. And this is the last time I felt this obviously was inside of Soul Chain Deathmatch, and then before then I think the last time I felt this way was maybe Mana Skin. You know what I mean?
Sure,
So like,
sure.
so I love when when Black Clover can still make me feel this way. You know what I mean? Even though like I have a lot of shit to say about Black Clover like every week, and I say like whatever I say, but
Right.
I can definitely still appreciate this kind of shit. You know what I mean?
Mhm.
And when it's very apparent in the chapter, I have like nothing but good things to say about this chapter for the most part. The only thing that like the only complaints that I have is what I just explained.
Right.
Other than that, dude, this shit is fucking phenomenal, dude. The art in this shit is crazy. The choreography is still going crazy, which we can always expect from him. I don't really appreciate like the crotch shot at the fucking end. I think he's doing a little bit too much with that. But other than that, dude, it's like, bro, this is one of those chapters that you just have to kind of take your hat off to him for. You know what I mean?
I do have one question. Maybe y'all can let me know your thoughts on page 3, right? Where Lolopechka does devil, water magic, Hydra, dark, narrows, or whatever.
Fire
That's
ass
fine.
panel.
Looks tight. Looks super cool.
Holy
looks awesome.
Shit.
Amazing. Yes. And Noelle's like, okay, like what have you done? Like, oh, this magic is malicious. Like, what did you do to Lolopechka, right? And Megicula says, I only tinkered with the curse a bit and made her a devil. Like, what do you mean made her a devil? Like, since when is this possible? Since when can you just make devils, humans into devils, right?
Yeah.
And if you can do this, like, what are the conditions to do this? And like, why didn't they just make a bunch of devils on this side of the underworld, right, in the human world, to help them make their goals? You know what I mean?
Headcanon assumptions that can be made to make this situation feel better, I feel like are, you can maybe just assume that the conditions to create a devil are also the same as the conditions that allow her to manifest herself to this point. Like now that she's kind of like in the physical realm to the degree that she is, at the end of the day, her ability is curse warding magic. So like, since that is still kind of a vague concept for the most part inside of like what curse warding magic actually does entirely, you could say that there's an area of it that allows you to, you know, animate, you know, humans like as a devil to a certain degree or whatever.
But I like your idea there that like maybe you would need to have done phase 1 with Asier.
Yeah.
You need to do phase 1, then now you're like partially manifested in Vanika's body, and now if you got the opportunity, you could like mess with something even more with curse magic and actually turn them into a devil. Where normally, if Megicula didn't do phase 1, she wouldn't be able to reach that far and, you know, exert so much control over random people in the human world or whatever.
I do agree with you though that like there, I would prefer a little bit more exposition for that line of dialogue specifically, and like that's what I feel like is a problem inside of Black Clover is that like at least for me it feels like a lot of the things that happen magic wise, I mean there are a lot of things that are explained very beautifully inside of the magic system of Black Clover, but a lot of things feel pretty hand wavy, you know what I mean, a lot of the times. And when you start giving conditions, you know, to abilities the way that we see inside of Megicula and the way that we see inside of Magna, now me personally, I'm gonna be like, okay, where is that at for everything then? You know what I mean? I'm gonna be like, okay, if we're gonna get this thorough breakdown in this area, let's get thorough breakdowns like this, like everywhere. And maybe there are, you know, like more than I'm remembering, but at the end of the day, it's like in pretty much any other power system that, you know, does have rules and does have checks and balances the way that Black Clover is kind of trying to show us that their magic system has. This information is rehashed all the time so that you can just go, oh, yep, this checks out, this checks out, this checks out. You can link the explanation for like something going on over here with this character to, you know, the phenomenon that's going on over here with another character. There's common denominators all over the place. You know what I mean? And in Black Clover, it feels like it kind of lacks that in most areas, at least inside of my memory. You know what I mean? So when I'm seeing shit like this, I'm like, okay, this all feels good. This is fire. We got step 1, step 2, step 3, and then boom, another vague area of the power system. And it's like, well, and we could get exposition for it. You know what I mean? Like,
and like we've been complaining at the vagueness of this whole situation the last couple of weeks, you know what I mean? And then, you know, this chapter gave us explanation that, you know, helped us get to a point of, you know, okay, now this makes sense. And now it seems like it has been consistent through the last few chapters and it makes sense. And we could get that here too. I guess I always just worry that it's just going to be hand waved and yep, you can just do this and don't worry about it. Like just pretend it makes sense. Right. And it's like, I don't want to feel that way. Right. So I do hope we get exposition here.
Absolutely.
Let's see. Oh, this stuff with Rill.
Yep, I was just looking at the Rill panel.
And Charlotte, very cool. Like Charlotte obviously almost like a hard counter to Megicula, right? Like her roses feed off of curse magic. And so and Rill, I think, realizes how important Charlotte is to this battle, and is like, I have to protect her. Defensive spell. You don't see defensive spells all that often in Black Clover, which is pretty cool.
Yes.
And then this like Twilight Valhalla, right? Like puts this Valhalla, which I mean, I like that it's a hall, right? Valhalla is a hall.
Yeah.
The Valkyries lead you to Valhalla, and you had this huge party inside this big house, this big hall, with all your warrior buddies, right? And if you look on the outside of this on page 7, you have all these Valkyries flying around, and the roof is made of shields of warriors. It just looks super tight, right?
Yes.
And it's like I'm like, cool. This is really awesome. You know what I mean?
Yes.
And how drastic the page turn into the 8-9. Do you think they're dead?
No.
This chapter is called Transient Life.
Sure.
Like not solid, like, you know, like it can slip away, you know what I mean? Like, I don't know, like I it's Black Clover, I doubt they're dead, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
I don't know, like
I think Transient Life might be, I don't know, just the fact that Megicula is like temporarily manifested the way that she is. Could be something like that, but I doubt that would be the reason why it's called this. But yeah, that is a good point. And like, I want to say like, holy shit, that would be wild for Black Clover, but it's like, I just don't see it. I don't see it at all. But this is a drastic page turn though, right?
Yeah,
because like at the very least, it's like we know that these players are probably out of the game. You know what I mean? So I mean, like whether they're dead or not, they're removed from the conflict, and that raises the stakes back up because you don't have that arm of power inside of your military anymore. So at the end of the day, it's still good and it still works for the tension and for the uncertainty. But are they dead? I don't believe so.
Sure.
Yeah.
Definitely out though.
Yeah.
The spells have been dispelled. Like the Valhalla and the Valkyries are fizzling away.
Yeah.
The roses, I think, also are meant to be portrayed as like burning and fizzing away. You know, like to the bottom right of the top panel of 8. So I do think that they are like out of the battle. Then we go into Gaja, baby. Oh man.
Yep, the true lightning magic, Nadaras do Astrausa.
Fire.
Oh. I love this internal monologue of him. You know what I mean?
Yes.
I love getting this motivation. So it feels so good.
Yeah. Yeah. This is what we wanted from Gaja. And you want to know what like the craziest thing about this to me is that we finally get this and we're like, all right, Gaja spirit dive, new form, something coming out of this flashback, and it's like, no, Geroded. And it's like, oh my God. Yeah.
It makes sense though.
Yeah.
You know, sees the person he's trying to protect in this demon and hesitates. He can't do it.
Yep.
Right.
Yep.
Hell yeah.
And he's not out yet. You know what I mean? Like, I mean, that's a pretty bad wound. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
But maybe we get that literal scene you're talking about, Nox. Like maybe we do get him doing a spirit dive like next chapter. You know, could happen. I don't know.
Yeah. I don't know if spirit dives can like heal damage like just upon activation or whatever, because like this dude has
you probably need the water spirit to do that, don't you?
Yeah, this dude has no stomach, bro. Like it's
no donut.
Yeah, he got like stabbed like straight through the solar plexus. Like that's a big fucking deal, you know what I mean? So it's like, I don't know, but that'd be cool.
Transient
life, baby. Yeah, I don't know.
So do you think Noelle, do you think the spirit dive came undone because like just the shock of these people like getting injured so badly kind of distracted Noelle out of it, or like why do you think it came undone?
Do we know that like your forms are like tied to concentration to that degree?
I don't know if we know that. Okay. Or is it time? Is it just like time has passed or something?
It's usually time, I want to say. Like you're just exhausted eventually, or you legitimately have a time limit like Aster or something, even though that's not a spirit dive, but like, you know what I mean? Like usually I don't remember. I mean, it makes sense, you know, like if Tabata did want to say like, oh, Noelle like kind of just like zoned out for a second and like lost her form, like that'd be fine. But like I just don't remember.
Not zoned out, but like she was very concerned about her friends and distracted.
Yeah, distracted. I mean? Yeah, sure. You know, like that'd be cool if that's what, you know, Tabata wanted to say right now. I just don't have a memory of that actually being a thing.
Right.
Like in any other forms. You know what I mean? But it makes sense. I mean, that's always the case in a lot of things. It's like you gotta really think about it to maintain it, especially such a high level technique. Like we see that all the time. But if that hasn't been like brought up before, that's gonna
maybe to maintain like
Yeah.
Maybe to maintain a good connection with your spirit, it's based off of like kind of the element, like
Sure.
just to kind of tie it in with your thought of it being linked to her kind of getting frazzled. Water is kind of a very like known to be a tranquil element. You know, it flows and ebbs and changes form and shit, and it's known to be like a tranquil, calm element.
Yeah.
And so her being, you know, riled up here and angry over this, you know, overseeing all this happen, definitely could loosen her connection with that element in that way.
Dude, I love that. If that's the explanation we got for that, that would be so major, bro. I would be like, fuck yeah. It's like, if that's what it said, oh my God, I really hope that's what it says somewhere.
Especially where we see like Fuego Leon is also quite an intense person.
Yeah,
right?
So maybe he needs to be fired up in order to...
he's...
Ooh.
You know what I'm saying?
I like that.
Love that.
I like that. And if that's already like Black Clover fans or whatever, if that's already a thing, like, let us know in the comments.
Yeah, let us know, yeah.
But like, I would really love that dialogue. I would really love that exposition for spirit dive forms or whatever, you know what I mean? Like, that'd be so cool to get that.
Oh, yeah.
For sure.
But yeah, I think that about does it, I think, for me. Does anybody else have anything to bring up here for Black Clover?
I think I'm good.
No, I'm good, yeah.
Well, with that, I think we can go ahead and move right into the Piece de l'Existence, chapter 1018 of One Piece. Jinbei versus Who's Who.
Okay.
I know that the meatheads are feasting this chapter.
Hey, the meatheads are feasting
this is like
this
the
chapter.
First time in a long time we've gotten almost a full chapter devoted to like a one-on-one fight.
Yes.
You know, good exposition and dialogue between the two participants.
Yes.
You know.
Yes.
Like, this was one of the best chapters in a long time for me.
A really long time.
Chapter.
Yeah, especially like where we are at in the story where it's like an all-out war. It's like we spent a lot of time showing the chaos of the war and how like different perspectives switch back and forth all the time. Different combatants get jumbled around because of crazy things, you know, that happen chaotically in the background. But this is like a focused, localized, concentrated chapter on two characters. And it's like, I didn't even think we were going to get something like this. You know, like, you know, to this degree, like, outside of the
massive
final
world building.
Yeah, and and that kind of shit peppered in there. I wanted to talk about the cover though, because this drawing is really cool. I love page 1 and Alti.
Yeah. Did you notice that the stuffed animals are Kaido, the headliners, and all the Tobiropo?
I did not notice that.
Kaido, King, Queen, Jack, Sasaki, Black Maria, and Who's Who?
Yo,
and of course, page 1 with the T-Rex or whatever.
See, dude, I was looking at this drawing and I was like, hold on, when did Ulti get so busty? Hold on, I didn't like know that was like a. I didn't know that was a T-Rex like head at first. I thought that was just like titties against face.
I don't even know. That's the Allosaurus, right? That's Drake.
Yeah, I think that's Drake.
Oh,
right?
is it Drake? Okay, sure. Okay. Yeah. Yep. But yeah, then Tobiropo then. Okay, that makes sense. That's better then because I was like, where's Ulti's? Right. So then those two are just themselves, and then the Allosaurus being Drake. Okay,
dude, that's funny. I definitely thought that was titties, bro. What the fuck?
That's a great spot, Nick. For
yeah, that's incredible. If you noticed that, let us know in the comments. If you didn't notice that, and Nick just kind of blew your mind, let us know that too. Because that shit's wild.
Good stuff.
We move right into the CP9 kind of exposition, which I love this stuff. They're kind of just keeping tabs on the numbers of the battle, you know, moving around to different areas of the battle. They're, you know, kind of explaining the Gifters join the other side. The numbers have evened out even more. Kaido's side dropped down to 20,000. Now it's 16K versus 9K.
Yeah, this is dope.
These numbers are getting much tighter.
Yeah, and they're like, wait a minute. I wanted to go back a page actually, because this Nami and like Zeus conversation was so fire. It's like, hey Nami, can I be your servant like before? It's like, fuck no, dude, you can't be my servant. And he's like, aw, and then it goes into like, but what about sidekick? How about partner? How about homie? You know what I mean? Yeah. It's like, shit,
so good.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, it was fire. Love that.
Love it.
But yeah,
very interesting with the CP conversation, right? Like how they're talking about this we find out their motivation, right? Like we've wondered this whole time, like why are they here, and are they ever going to intervene in this battle, maybe against the Straw Hats, right? And it's like no, they're just here for one dude, and it's who's who. It's like what? What?
Trying to get who's who's ass out of here.
Yeah.
Which,
and that makes a lot of sense, like when it comes down to it, because they're this ominous, enigmatic presence, you know, in the background of this war. And you do wonder, like, what are they here for? They're probably going to go stir some shit up at a certain moment once they think that they have, like, a super opportune moment to, like, shift the tide. Or what? No. It's literally, like, it comes down to a rogue, you know, ex-CP member. You know what I mean? It's like, I feel like we didn't even need this chapter to confirm that. As soon as we found out that who's who was CP9, we probably could have drew that line. You know what I mean? And it's like,
sure.
Like, that's really cool.
Yeah, definitely. Yeah. And then, of course, the phenomenal battle, you know what I mean? Like, just so good.
We'll move into the cat's cradle on them.
Yeah, dude.
And Jinbei and who's who, all the other cats are just like, yo, this fight's way too serious. We got to get the fuck out of here, bro. We get this first panel of them all just dipping away from Jinbei and who's who.
Yeah. And the choreography inside of the fight is like something that I feel like, at least me personally, I always forget about you know, Oda's aptitude for is choreography, right? Because like not only do we not get, you know, one-on-one fights outside of like Luffy like all that often to this degree of epicness, you know what I mean? But also it's like the fighting styles are so cool in One Piece, you know what I mean? And a lot of the times the fighting style is shown as throwing one major attack in a certain moment that does what it needs for the plot in the moment. But when it's like focused like this down to like just one-on-one characters interacting, you know, in this kind of way, you can really feel the fighting styles when it's focused and when it's localized like this. And it's like there isn't really a time where any kind of action is happening that doesn't make sense inside of the way we understand characters fight. You know what I mean? And for a series that like doesn't really hone in on that all too often, it's cool that when it does, it's like, okay, Oda's still got him in like every area that like he like might not use a certain area of his storytelling all that often, you know what I mean? But like he doesn't forget it, you know what I mean? And it's like it's cool to see that, you know, in this chapter. It's like this is one of the best one-on-one fights in One Piece in a while, dude. You know what I mean? And it's like we get
not just choreography, but also strategy, right? Like for example, on page 7, Jinbei gets he knocks away a Fang pistol, right?
Yeah.
He knocks it away with Haki, and then realizes he's actually bleeding afterward.
Yes.
So he realizes in that moment that these actually break through his Haki at its current level, right? And so then on page 8, when he dodges the another one, then who's who is like, oh, so even your, you know, armament Haki can't stop them. You made the right decision to dodge, right? Like it's all queued up there, right? Like it's not that he just randomly dodged and we get to exposition of strategy. We literally see the strategy happening in the, you know, composition of the panels, you know what I mean?
Yeah, well, and even on page 7 you see the zwip, like the him speed blitzing out of there.
Yeah, oh yeah, I love that. Yeah, nice, very good. Another thing on 7, we get confirmation that Shanks did steal the Gomu Gomu no Mi from the world government. Now, of course, we knew he had the Gomu Gomu no Mi, right? Yeah. But I don't think we ever knew where he got it, how he got it, right?
And from,
who he stole it from, or if he like, you know, inherited it, you know, found it, you know, had a tree or something, and someone died, and he, you know, was intentionally harvesting the Gomu Gomu.
I want to say we knew that they stole it the whole time, because I think
explicitly at the end of last chapter, didn't he?
Well, even before that, I want to say that we knew that it was taken from someone else, because I think that we got like specific dialogue that said Lucky Roo was the one who snatched it. You know what I mean?
Said that Lucky Roo was the one who's in the SBS cards.
Somewhere
the Beaver cards. In Lucky Roo's, it said that he was the one who stole the Gomu Gomu no Mi.
Yeah, there we go.
Okay.
From an enemy ship, quote unquote.
Right.
But we didn't know who he was stealing from. Yeah.
The full picture is now here.
Absolutely. Well, a lot more.
At the end of last
I would prefer a fucking panel flashback, like visual.
Right.
But yeah.
Right. What was on last chapter?
At the end of last chapter, he did say, who's implicitly did say, he's like, oh yeah, you japped out. He's like, oh, you said you were the helmsman of the Straw Hat crew. That brings back the past. 12 years ago, a devil fruit was stolen from a government ship.
Mm-hmm.
And when Straw Hat Luffy appeared 2 years ago, I was shocked to learn the truth that Straw Hat had eaten the very gum fruit that was stolen from that ship.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. So nothing about Shanks. Yeah.
But we knew,
But there could have been other steps, someone could have stole it from the government, and then Shanks could have stole it from them. You know what I mean? So we didn't know the exact. Now we know, as you say, Nox, not the full picture, but we know much more of the picture than we did even from last chapter.
It's pretty good.
Yeah.
And now this actually raises more questions because, like, not a lot of people know what devil fruits can do before they're eaten.
Sure.
You know what I mean? So like the information that they knew it was he was like, okay, this fruit got stolen. And the way I found out that other people had it is because I saw the power manifest in someone else. So it's like, how did you know that that's what the ability was going to be in the fruit? My God, you know what I mean? I'm like sitting here going like, and now there's a book, you know what I mean? That says shit, you know what I mean? And there's all types of shit, but still, it's like, that's very limited information, I feel like, in this world. So
yes.
It's very
it tends to be. Yes.
Yeah.
Definitely. Very cool. I wonder if we'll get more on that. Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Very cool.
He goes into the Flash Fang. I just want to talk about this Flash Fang panel, right?
Oh, okay.
Because like at the bottom of page 9, he goes into the Flash Fang and he blocks it like the same way he blocks like Big Mom's Napoleon like cognac shit on the ship when he used like shark skin, but he doesn't like say shark skin, this time or whatever. I wonder if he's not actually using the full potency of his armament hockey since there's not a named situation for the defensive maneuver that he used. You know what I mean?
I think that might just be like the native language, right? Because obviously even in this fight he was kind of taunting who's who in an earlier chapter when who's using Tekai Iron Body.
Sure.
Yeah.
He has his hockey up and he's like, should I call this Iron Body then?
Yeah.
Right.
What's up? Like I think kind of culturally, or depending on which organization you're in or where you grew up, it's kind of called different things. Like,
that's definitely
like mantra in Sky Island or whatever.
That's definitely.
But I think Nox is saying that like shark skin isn't what Jinbei calls armament hockey. Shark skin is maybe a specific technique.
Specific technique.
In like the fisherman karate maybe, or maybe it is armament hockey.
And even if it's the same and like and like Gyojins just like call it shark skin or whatever, and you know what I mean, like even if that is the case, he still didn't even say shark skin.
Never gotten dialogue
or well, I mean, like in this moment of the Flash Fang, like he just blocks it with like the exact same body posture and armament hockey application as shark skin, but doesn't actually say shark skin. So it makes me like, I don't know of a reason why, unless he just wasn't using that technique at the time, but we know it is a technique because he already said its name, so I'm sitting here going like, was he even like is he even like not trying as hard as possible in this fight, basically, is what I'm saying right now.
So in that point, he's not, right? I think it's pretty clear that at this point in the fight, he is not at 100%. And then later, Who's Who comments like, oh, damn, he's really popping off now, right?
Oh, sure.
So I think he does get stronger later in the chapter. Before we move further, I love on the bottom of 8 this clap back from Jinbei, you know what I mean? Like who's like, you move pretty quick for on land for a fishman, and he's like, I don't believe this. Like, don't you know casual racism against fishermen is out of style these days? I love that. Oh, so good. I can't believe it. Oh my god.
The clap back is real. Dude, Jinbei always has like really cool. He's like a man of like few words, I want to say, just because he doesn't get as much screen time as a lot of people. But like everything he says is so serious and so potent and so like so it makes so much sense for the moment. Like he never says like random shit. You know what I mean? Like everything he says is like for real. You need this in the moment, or it's like deeply impactful for other reasons. You know what I mean? It's like that clap back was fire. Yes.
But yeah, then we get the after the Fang Flash, we get the Fishman Jiu-Jitsu on him, low tight shoulder throw, grabs him by the teeth and fucking slams his ass, then hits him with the water shot right away. Who's Who shaves out of there, but man, that was a clean little sequence right there.
Choreography,
boom.
So fire.
Perspective, the paneling, like it's just like so tight, so clean. And then like I was not expecting at all in this chapter to get this immense world building with the sun god Nika stuff.
Yeah.
This is amazing.
Yeah,
I
this
love
is
this.
crazy right now.
This is my favorite part of One Piece. You know what I mean?
Yeah, absolutely. And I feel so bad for people who skip Skypiea because that's like a thing.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? For whatever reason, like especially like on Twitter. You know what I mean? Like, you don't need Skypiea. It's not relevant. It's just some filler shit. Blah, they just like went here for like whatever they fucking say about it or whatever. And it's like, it's like now in these last couple arcs of like One Piece, it's becoming so much more relevant. You know what I mean? It's like, how could you even think that because something doesn't have an immediate payoff for you in the moment, that it's not like major setup for something that's going to happen later? It's like, you should know that by Skypiea. You should know that by Jai.
Right.
You should know that by, you know what I mean? Like way earlier than Skypiea, that's how Oda's story tells, you know what I mean? So like, why would you sit there and go, I'm not getting any of this right now. I'm not getting anything from this right now. So this isn't going to be used later. You know what I mean? Like that was a massive world building arc. And you could feel that. You thought that was just going to be up there in the clouds and that wasn't going to affect anything down. Like, come on, bro. That's wild to me. I feel so bad for those people.
So is the Jaya connection for you the fact that this image of the sun god Nika looks so similar to, let's say, like Luffy, like his pose as he's jumping, you know, in Skypiea?
Oh yeah. The super silhouette panel. I didn't even think about that.
Right. It's not exactly the same, right? Because it's more, if from my memory, he's like holding his hat with one hand and kind of like jumping, so it's more like a splayed out kind of thing. Yeah. But it's a silhouette. It looks very similar to this, and this silhouette looks like a Shandian.
Yeah, it does.
You know what I mean?
And just to go back to your Luffy panel, like point out. Sure. Like that was still very side profile with a giant grin, you know what I mean? So he's still like smiling, like even though the body position isn't the same, like that can't be coincidental, you know what I mean? Like that is a very drastic silhouette of Luffy, and we've never really seen Luffy drawn like that ever since then. You know what I mean? Like literally side profile silhouette, mouth open, grinning, hand up here, other hand doing something else, legs spread. Like that's the same shit. On purpose, you know what I mean?
Right.
I didn't even think about that's wild.
Yeah, it's definitely a different pose, but the even the noodle arms, the sun god Nika has like these, you know, noodle arms, these kind of curved arms and legs. Yeah. Right. Looks a lot like Luffy. Its smile a lot like Luffy. You know what I mean? I don't know. It just very coincidental, very interesting. Yeah. And then I just love this whole slaves who pray to it. You know what I mean? And tying in. You know, why are you asking me? Like, you know, Jinbei asking, like, why are you asking me? Well, okay, you led the Sun Pirates. Right. You know, Sun Pirates, Sun God Nika, slaves in the Sun Pirates. And I love this line, like, what is Fishman history but the history of slavery? Because they've been discriminated against and enslaved for so long, you know what I mean? Yeah. So fire. So fire. And immediately, Jinbei turns up. Or I guess it's more technically when he says, on page 14 rather, who is like, tell me everything you know. And immediately, all of a sudden, Jinbei's hockey is breaking his fingers.
Yes. Oh my, that
washing him. Right. Yeah. Which tells me personally, Jinbei absolutely 100% knows what he's talking about. He definitely knows who this guy is.
Oh, for sure.
The religion or the history, the legend or whatever, he knows about it for sure.
I think you see this guy in Luffy.
Sure, I can see it.
Oh, like, sure.
To tie into what you were saying earlier, Nick, you know, I think Jinbei, you know, is a man who is perceptive like that, you know.
Yeah.
He knows about history, and I think he believes in certain concepts in the One Piece history, and I think he sees a lot in Luffy.
Yeah.
Ooh,
that's a really
you're giving me chills right now. I love that.
Really good point, dude. Yeah. Hey, man, this is wild, dude.
Yes.
Like, who would have thought, like, in the fucking, like, Who's Who versus Jinbei fight, we were going to get, like, insane world-building shit like this, and, like, plot thread connections from, like, 10, 15, 20 years ago, like, in a fucking Who's Who versus Jinbei fight.
Right.
That's so... like, that makes me, like, wonder, like, what the rest of these fights are going to fucking look like with the rest of these characters. I understand that Who's Who is probably a little bit deeper of a character, like in regard to the narrative because of his connection to the world government, you know, but we don't know what other history these Toby Roppo have, dude.
Yeah, 100%.
This could be so major and for everybody involved. Yeah,
definitely. A couple more minor bits of evidence, I would say, that Jinbei does know about Nika the sun god and all this stuff, right? say on page 15, he says, I have nothing to say to the likes of you. You know what I mean? Okay, well, would you have something to say to someone else? You know what I mean?
Yeah,
Like, kind of seems
yeah.
like you do have something to say. And then when he says, at the very last, double spread or whatever, right? Like, if you're gonna run your mouth about history, be ready for what you're stepping into, right?
Yes.
AKA, be ready for me. You know what I mean? Like, be ready for these hands. You know what I mean? I don't know. Like, I just feel like he's like literally like kind of acknowledging that he does know, and that I'm not going to tell you. I'm rather going to just beat the shit out of you instead.
Right.
You know
he's
what I mean?
acting like a gatekeeper or like some kind of guardian for the information. It's like, if you want to know about this, you got to beat a motherfucker like me, because you're probably going to run into all kinds of people who are going to be trying to protect this kind of information, and I'm one of them. So what's up?
Yes. Ooh.
Yo.
Nice.
But yeah. Just fire ass choreography, man, we get from Jinbei, and this demon brick fist, the 1-inch punch or whatever it is, like does he stop like right before he hits him, and then it's like the fishman impact?
Yeah, I think it's probably something like that, because I mean, like, we see that inside of his attacks like all the time, where he just like moves slow and then like finishes his movement, and then like the fucking air molecules explode or some shit.
Oh yeah.
There's like shockwaves coming out of it.
Yeah.
There's like the hockey black lightning. Could it even be Ryo? I don't know. Like,
see, and like, this is like the kind of shit that I be talking about, man, because it's like, dude, I remember a big conversation that I had about Gyojin karate with a good buddy of ours, Hannibal, that I actually brought up last review too. But it's like hockey, sea stone, the sea, like it all kind of like has common denominators. Like, like one of them is hockey nullifies devil fruit capabilities to a certain degree,
right?
Just like
so
the
water.
sea, and just like Gyojin karate, like bypassing whatever to attack your water molecules and damage you internally, like Ryo does. Like, I feel like it's all connected. You know what I mean? I feel like a lot of these fighting styles are connected in ways that aren't like blatantly apparent. You know what I mean? In the dialogue, you know what I mean? Like in your face. But I mean, like, we have so much there that kind of like explains what we're talking about right now. You have mantra going from mantra to observation hockey, depending on the culture. You know what I mean? You have like all of the like Roku Ogan inside of the hidden technique in the Rokushiki behaves just like Ryo. You know what I mean? So it's like I'm waiting for Oda to just literally just drop the chapter at this point. That's like, okay, so sea prism stone handcuffs, come from the sea and nullify your devil fruit abilities on contact, because the sea does. Hockey behaves in it like hockey comes from the ocean. You know what I mean?
Something like that,
like shit like that. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like it's all going to link together in some kind of way. Like hockey is ocean power. Like
I've literally had that same thought.
Yeah.
Definitely.
Yeah. But goddamn.
Ooh.
Oh yeah.
Oh my god, this chapter is so good.
Massive, like stupidly big and important. Like, and inside of like such a drastic one-on-one fight chapter too. Like, Oda is hooping in ways people forgot he could right now, and I love every moment of it. You know what I mean?
I mean, we never forgot, but I know what you mean. That,
we never forgot.
Other people forget. Yeah,
absolutely.
Most definitely. Well, I think that about does it for One Piece for me. Either you got anything else you want to bring up?
Oh no, I'm good, dude. Splendid conversation.
That's it for me as well. Yeah, absolutely.
All right, well, that should do it. Thank you all so much for watching. If you did, be sure to slap a like on the video and subscribe to the channel for more content coming out week to week. Be sure to comment in that comment section down below. Let us know what you thought of this weekend jump. Let us know if we missed anything, remind us of, whatever. Chop it up down there with us. Also, check out that description box, like we said before, where you can find links to any and all of our individual social media accounts, such as Twitter, online communities such as Discord, places to listen to the podcast wherever you'd like to. Also, ways to support the show through checking out our online store or our Patreon. And with all those words said, this will be another fantastic episode of the Project Manga Podcast wrapping up. I'm your host, Eagle.
Knox.
And I'm Nickums.
Sarabada.